Alright, what's going on, guys? I want to talk to you guys about IT band syndrome. This is one of the most, if not the most common running injury. So a couple things I want to talk, well, a number of things I want to hit on with IT band stuff. Number one is the surface you're running on. Alright, so if you're starting to get IT band is something you really want to stay on top of. You don't want it to blow up into like full-blown IT band syndrome. It can last for a long time. It can be a real pain in the butt. So this is something you want to stay on top of it. As soon as you feel anything in your IT band, do the protocol I'm going to give you guys in this video. Stay on top of it. Make sure it's right. In the meantime, if you are feeling it a little bit, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to stop running, but the kinds of runs that are going to really flare up IT band syndrome is anything going up and down hills. Alright, like you'll probably notice it walking up and down stairs, for example. So you're going to want to try and keep all your running as flat as possible. So that's thing number one. Speed, the faster you go, usually the more it's going to aggravate it. The thing with IT bands is usually it actually kind of warms up. Like you'll feel bad warming up for a workout, and then you start working out and you're like, oh, it actually feels like pretty good when I'm running fast, and then it'll start to feel worse on the cool down. They'll feel really bad after the workout. So speed also matters. Maybe not doing top end sprinting is going to be particularly hard on IT band. But the big thing is going to be train. Want to keep it as flat as possible. Also be aware if you're cross training, if you have IT band stuff going on. We don't want you guys on bikes. Bikes hit IT band super hard, so you're just going to prolong it, maybe even make it worse on bike. So do not bike on the IT if you have IT band stuff. And again, let pain be your guide when you're picking out your cross training things for IT band. Sometimes people can do elliptical, because basically anything that causes your IT band starts up in your hip, runs down here to your knee, and then it actually comes even down like halfway into your calf here. So anything where you're doing this, you're gonna feel like a clicking, not always a clicking, but especially if it's like bad, you're gonna feel it clicking right in there. And it's like right on this bone here is where you're gonna feel it kind of snapping. It's like a tendon snapping over that. So you're really gonna feel it if you're biking and you're going like this. It's just like snap, 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 snap. That's gonna be no good. Same thing when you're walking, doing step ups, you're walking upstairs. Anything that's opening and closing this joint is not going to be great for IT band. So in terms of cross training for it, swimming can be pretty good. Some people can do elliptical and be alright, but it's kind of a tough one. You can swim also and put buoys between your legs, so that way you're just using your arms, not kicking at all. But most people, they can kick because your knees staying relatively straight when you're kicking. Alright, so now let's talk about how to actually work through IT band stuff. So the biggest things you're going to want to do is stretching and rolling. And you guys know I'm not like a huge fan of static stretching, but with IT band syndrome I think it's really necessary and important. So I'm going to show you guys rolling first. If Mita will please proceed to the couch, thank you. Alright, so like I said, your IT band starts at your hip. So when you're rolling it, you're going to start at the bottom. And again, guys, you can use a roller, you can use a rolling pin, you can use a baseball bat. And it's almost like the harder it is, the better. The more it hurts, the better. So you're going to start at the hip. You're going to pause wherever you feel those knots, wherever like you're like, I want to get off this spot right now. That's where you're going to let it sit, okay? You're going to let it sit for like 30 seconds, a minute, and your goal is just to relax the tension in your leg, right? So anytime you feel pain, you feel your muscles just squeeze, right, and get tight, and your goal is to just use your mind to relax your muscle, relax your foot, relax everything you can in there to let all that tension just leave that area. We're trying to get those knots out, all right? So, like even mine, like I don't have IT band stuff going on right now, but this feels painful to me. So you can find that spot. And now I'm controlling the tension through how much weight I'm putting on my elbow here, and then also through here, how much weight I'm absorbing with this arm here. And then also obviously with my feet. So I can make it pretty light to where it doesn't hurt very much, and then I can go all the way down to where it really hurts, all right? So you're going to just slowly work your way all the way up to like basically right above the knee. What I like to do, guys, is a little bit of ART, and so moving this leg, this bottom leg that I'm working this IT band, moving it back and forth, okay? And it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. If it's not hurting, you're probably wasting your time. All right? So that's how to roll out your IT band. So what I'd recommend is you start with rolling your IT band and then move into stretching it, all right? And you know, I obviously didn't do a full roll routine there. Like, it should take you 15 minutes. Like, just start your watch. If you're watching a movie, hanging out with the kids, playing games or something, just set your watch, just give yourself 15 minutes, roll all the way through there, and then stretch it. All right, so to start out stretching it, you just kind of see the position I'm in here. Got my foot here, knee here, both hands here. I'm a straight line coming at you this way. And so I'm just gonna hold, like, this is the starting position right here, and I'm feeling this a lot in my hip right now. All right, so mainly the stretch is high up my T-band in my hip. So I'm just gonna let it sit here. If this feels like it's not really stretching it that much for you, then you can start to come down with the shoulders and get lower and lower to the ground. So I feel really good stretching there. So just gonna let it sit in there, 30 seconds. A minute, and then this is going to be a progressive stretch. So now I'm going to start to come out to the side here. I'm going to let my hip lay down to the ground, and now I'm trying to get my shoulders closer to the ground. So now my leg is out to the side, my foot is still pretty much underneath my knee. Okay, so now I'm just going to let it sit in here, 30 seconds to a minute. And the further you can go down with your shoulders, I mean, if you can get all the way down on the ground, that's great. That'll get in there even more. All right, so now the process is going to be, after you've held that for a minute or so, is to find different stages in here where you're going to gradually now start to move this foot out, okay? So in here, let it sit for a while, 30 seconds to a minute, move it out a little bit more, let it sit. And what this is doing is just changing the angle in which we're stretching that T-band, all right? So we're kind of moving the stretch from the hip initially to being more and more concentrated over the knee, which is where you're probably feeling your IT band pain, all right? So come out further and just work all these different stages, and eventually you're gonna end with the leg straight, and this is where you're really gonna feel it in your knee. And I'm not flexible at all, so not a great example of Gumby here, but trying to get your shoulders down towards the ground and this leg straight. You should feel a really good stretch right over the knee, okay? So hold that for like a 30-second hold. Then you can repeat that like 2 or 3 times. And do both sides, even if you're not feeling both sides. We want to, and with the rolling as well, we want to keep it feeling good on both sides, all right? So those are the big keys to remember. Keep it flat running, stretch it, roll it. Warming it can be really good before you run. You want to hop in an Epsom salt bath, like a warm Epsom bath, right around 100 degrees. You can buy those bulk Epsom salt things from like Costco or CVS. Dump it in your bath, sit in there for 15 minutes. Great thing to do, just kind of loosen it up before you go run. Also too, you'll notice with IT band, you'll be better off in the afternoon running than in the mornings, just because it's more warmed up. So you might want to delay your runs to the afternoon if you can. If you are running in colder climates, wearing tights, wearing longer, like my coach at Stanford, when I had IT band stuff, he made me always run in long, like, training pants or whatever, and I hated it, but it helped a lot to keep that area warm. So you can also use topical warming things like Icy Hot, throw it on there, Tiger Balm, throw it on there. Anything to kind of help warm it up will help a little bit and provide a little bit of relief. But the way to really get through it is going to be through the rolling, which I showed you, the stretching I showed you, and then the last component is strengthening. And I have a video on our Run Free YouTube channel, 3-way hip strengthening. And basically we're going to want to do strengthening in here. So I have you doing pulls, weighted pulls this way. That's going to be really the best exercise I could recommend for IT band. But you could also do, I have the other video of the fire hydrants on the ground, right? Like this one. It's also going to help. Anything that is hip strengthening is going to help with that, right? The clams, which we have videos of. All that stuff's gonna help, but if you only do one exercise, make it that pull exercise in here, okay? It should really help strengthen that IT band. And just realize, guys, with IT band stuff, usually it takes a while to get better, right? So don't be frustrated if, you know, you're still feeling it a week, 2 weeks later. We just want to see it generally trending better, all right? As long as it's trending better, we're good. It is something you can kind of run through to some extent, as long as it's not causing you to limp, and yeah, as long as it's not throwing off your stride and it's trending the right direction, we're good. So hopefully that's helpful, guys, on how to work through IT band syndrome.